Good morning, everyone. All right, we got to do a little bit better than that. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
It's great to see you, and I want to echo those comments back to Leslie and Chris, who are doing amazing work at Hot Bread Kitchen and CEO, respectively. And I also want to thank, I can't start this morning without thanking Greg, Stephanie, and NYCETC for bringing us all together in community. So I want to begin this morning with a moment of connection, something that reminds us why we gather in spaces like this. My grandfather was a founding pastor, and the church that he and his congregation both designed and built from the ground up still stands today in the vibrant community of South Jamaica, Queens, right off of Baisley Boulevard. As a kid, I remember watching him step into this regal-looking purple robe. And on certain Sundays, he would pause mid-sermon, look out into the congregation, and invite everyone to turn to their neighbor and offer a word of affirmation. And if you were here yesterday, you remember Kalila began us in the same spirit. At the time, I didn't fully understand the theology, but I understood the design of what he was doing. He wasn't just delivering a message, he was constructing community. So in that spirit, and to be clear, this is not about religion at all, but about community, I want to ask you all to indulge me. Would you please turn to the person on your right and say, "I see you"? All right. Now, hold on, we're not done. Now, I'd like you all to turn to the neighbor on your left and say, "I see you." And now what I'd like you all to do is gently place your hands on your own shoulders and say, "I see me." Because the future that we wish to build only becomes possible when we practice the discipline of seeing. Not just who someone is today, but who they can become tomorrow. Once we see the architecture of their potential, we must ensure that the systems see it too. And when we say, "I see me," we acknowledge that we, as leaders and builders, are still blueprints in progress ourselves. Now, when Greg invited me to join you as today's keynote speaker, I felt an amalgamation of inspiration, and I'll admit it, y'all, a little anxiety, inspiration because I care deeply about this city's workforce community. You all are some of the most grounded, brilliant, authentic people I know. And anxiety because what do you say to a room full of people who you've grown up with personally and professionally? But that blend of inspiration and anxiety is something I've only ever felt in one other context, amongst people who carry a shared responsibility. And in many ways, that's what this workforce community is. Not a family by lineage, but a family by labor, all united by one conviction. We keep building even when the materials are scarce, even when the funding is tight, and even when the blueprint keeps changing. So let's do something together. If you've been part of this workforce ecosystem for 40 or more years, would you raise your hand? All right, look at that. Okay, you can put your hands down. 25 or more years. Okay, 15 or more. Okay, wow. 5 or more. Right. And is there anyone brand new to the space? Okay, now everyone raise your hands again if you raise your hands and take a moment to look around you. Right? Okay. You can put your hands down. What you just saw is a living architectural timeline of New York City's workforce ecosystem. What I see is decades of wisdom layered alongside new ideas, fresh talent, and emerging leadership. This is the scaffolding of a system that has been built, rebuilt, reinforced, and reimagined more times than anyone can count. In this ecosystem, there is both room and need for every generation. We learn from one another, we sharpen the tools that build structures for our community, and we strengthen the design together. Because as we begin this conversation about the future we're shaping for New York City, I want us to hold one image clearly. We are not just participants in a system. We are the architects of it. Because if I've learned anything watching my dear grandfather stand by a church that took far longer to build than anyone anticipated, it's this. Sometimes the builders who stay, who keep showing up on the site, who refuse to walk away even when the pipes don't connect the way they should, those are the builders who create structures that last. You are those builders. And today, we get to talk about collectively the next blueprint. So, 22 years ago, I graduated from the Wilberforce University, which is our nation's first private African-American-owned, historically black university, named after William Wilberforce. For those who don't know about Mr. Wilberforce, he was the British abolitionist and philanthropist who was central to ending the transatlantic slave trade. Wilberforce was more than a school to me. It was a blueprint, and I'm going to tell you why. It was a living example of what it means to build your own institutions when the existing blueprint leaves no doorway. After graduation, I began my career in corporate America in Cincinnati, Ohio. I was very grateful for the opportunities, but I also encountered the same barriers that many young people face today when they enter environments that were never designed with them in mind. It raised a question that I couldn't shake. If the blueprint never imagined you in its design, then where's your doorway into the building? That question took me into the classroom. I relocated to Miami, Florida, where I taught 11th and 12th grade reading and English. Now, I have to tell you, my students were brilliant. They were so full of talent, humorous, had just warmth in their smiles. Yet many were reading at an elementary school level, yet in 11th and 12th grade. I remember standing in that classroom, struck by how much potential lived inside a system that was never built to support it, a system that was structurally unsound. And that's when something clicked for me. My place wasn't only at the front of the classroom. I wanted to move to the back of the classroom, the place where the wiring is hidden, where the system diagrams live, where decisions about opportunity and access are made long before a young person ever steps into a school or a workplace. Perhaps if I could understand the system, I could help redesign it. If I could get behind the walls, maybe I could help to fix the pipes. That realization became a calling for me. It felt like my blueprint was finding its motion. My journey led me across this country, Phoenix, Arizona, Los Angeles, Chicago, where I worked with organizations like Year Up United and Co-op Careers. These were places where I learned not just the work itself, but the ethos behind it. Head, heart, and hustle. And if you know Co-op Careers, then you know that mantra well. And eventually, I came back home to the neighborhoods that shaped me, Jamaica, Queens, Elmont, Long Island, where rhythm, resilience, and relentless spirit are not metaphors, they are operating systems. From working at CUNY, to being on the launch team of Gutman Community College, to helping build Here to Here and supporting incredible talent across the Bronx. Those years taught me what it means to build opportunity at scale. I saw how institutions can change lives when the blueprint is drawn with intention, and how systems fall short when the design doesn't center the humanity of the people within them. Every step of my journey, corporate America, the classroom, national nonprofits, higher education, it all brought me closer to the same truth. I care about this work deeply because I've lived the consequences of systems that weren't built with people like me in mind. And I've witnessed the strength of communities that choose to build anyway. And that belief, that conviction shaped by my lived experience is what grounds the work that I now have the privilege to lead. Today, I have the immense honor of serving as a CD&R Foundation president. CD&R is a private investment firm founded more than 40 years ago with a simple but powerful belief: to do business the right way by building better and stronger businesses and, by extension, stronger communities. We operate across the US and Europe, investing in companies, many of which touch people's daily lives as employees, as customers, and as suppliers. We invest across healthcare, industrial, technology, financial, and business services. So when I talk about infrastructure, it's not only a metaphor. Our foundation extends that belief into the social sector. Our mission is equity through employment opportunity, making sure that every person, regardless of background, has access to the training, networks, and supports needed to fully participate in our economy. Since 2021, we have proudly committed $41 million to 37 impactful organizations that expand access and employment opportunity in New York and in London. Our approach is holistic. Yes, we provide funding, and in a sector that is chronically under-resourced, that matters. But we also invest our time, our expertise, and our access to networks. Because when business and community align, we don't just strengthen a system, we expand its capacity to carry far more people into opportunity. And still, I want to be very clear about something. Today is not about CD&R, it's not about our foundation, and it's not about me. This work is not about a single firm, a single entity, or an individual. And as a former English teacher, I can tell you there is no I in workforce. Today is about you, the collective you, the dedicated and passionate leaders of New York City's workforce ecosystem, the people who show up every day so immigrants and long-established New Yorkers alike can build lives filled with choice and dignity. As our city continues to evolve, one thing remains constant. This community, you, are the ones holding the blueprint for economic opportunity in New York. So when I speak to you today, it's from within this ecosystem, not above it or you. We are co-designers of the same blueprint. If we take a clear-eyed look at New York City's workforce landscape, recent data from the Center for an Urban Future and the Center for NYC Affairs tell a complicated story. Over the past decade, tech sector employment has grown 64%, and labor force participation is at a historic 62.7%. And yet, more than 219,000 New Yorkers are still searching for work. Meanwhile, the green economy is projected to grow towards 400,000 jobs by 2040, a once-in-a-generation opportunity to reshape access to communities too often left behind. So the question becomes, if the opportunities are expanding, why are so many people still standing outside the doors of opportunity? Part of the answer lies in the demographics. And here's another truth. Demographics are shifting faster than our systems. With declining birth rates and a shrinking workforce, New York cannot sustain its future unless veterans, people with disabilities, justice-impacted New Yorkers, immigrants, and New Yorkers of all ages are part of the blueprint. If we don't redesign the system, the math will redesign it for us. And I'll tell you, not in a way that serves our city well. But the demographics are not the full story. And the answer is not mysterious either. And I'm gonna say this loudly and boldly, it is not about the talent. It's about structure and design, the architecture of a system that wasn't built to connect the pipes that matter most. An ecosystem where the interconnections between stakeholder groups still leak at every turn. And while AI is reshaping work, many of the challenges we face are not technological at all. They are about business models, risk tolerance, outdated hiring practices, and systems that move far slower than the people they are meant to serve. That is not a failure of effort. It is a failure of alignment. Because a system can be full of talent and still fail if the pipes aren't connected. That's the blueprint problem we're up against. You know, too often, the burden has been placed on talent alone. We tell them, be ready, go get certified, gain experience. But readiness has never opened a door. Doors often open because of networks and sponsorship, the types of inherited pathways that many communities never get access to, even when they've done everything right. Which means talent is not the problem. Access is the problem. Alignment is the problem. Architecture is the problem. And those are the problems that I believe we can solve together. Not by asking people to run faster through systems that weren't built for them, but by redesigning the systems so they finally see and match the full potential of the people they serve. When we make that shift, When we stop asking whether people are ready for opportunity and start asking whether opportunity is ready for them, the entire blueprint changes. Because access is not merit. Access is infrastructure. Now, before we go any further, I want to ground us in the heart of this work. The video that you're about to see isn't a showcase of programs and institutions. It's a glimpse into the leaders behind them, the personal blueprint that each builder carries. So with that in mind, I invite you builders to take a look at these builders.
At CD&R, we firmly believe that economic opportunity is one of the most powerful levers for change. In 2021, we created the CD&R Foundation with a focused and purposeful mission to advance equity through employment opportunity in the communities where we proudly live and work, New York and London. This year, our Talent Solution partners helped more than 5,500 New Yorkers secure meaningful and well-paying jobs, resulting in an estimated $198 million increase in their earnings. That's why CD&R is proud to partner with the leaders from whom you're about to hear. Builders, all of them, as they reimagine what's possible for our city's workforce. We thank them for their partnership and for their leadership.
We provide an incredibly excellent education with incredible faculty that make up our community. My father is the reason why I came to CUNY. My dad was able to give me things that he didn't have growing up as a child. The CUNY of Puerto Rico allowed him to become an engineer, so I wanted to be part of a university that does that every day, and it's one of the things that brings me the biggest joy in my role as counselor when I see that happening. There is agency that we all have. If we have intentionality, if we all come together and we prioritize this work, we're going to be able to continue to make this city the great city that we love, and that's what we're here to do, but even a city that serves everybody better.
We're a social service organization that is based primarily in the South Bronx, and our goal is to provide workforce, education, and economic opportunity programs for residents and community members. I was born in Kingston, Jamaica. I was born into a family that was quite poor. My grandmother, the 4th grade education, my grandfather, the 2nd grade education. But what they understood is that the way out of poverty for us was through education. I was privileged to get a scholarship to one of the most reputable all-boys institutions in Kingston, Jamaica. I like to remind the young people that the block that you grew up on should not block your blessings, or the zip code that you grew up in should not define your destiny. Remember, seek opportunities, lean into opportunities, because one day you never know, you might be the CEO of a nonprofit organization really making a difference in people's lives.
This was actually my dream job, to be the president of John Jay College. I grew up on Long Island and know of CUNY as being the great equalizer in providing college opportunities for those people who might not otherwise have the opportunity for a college degree. They know and they trust, and their families trust, that we have their long-term interest in heart and making sure they get the education that we promised that they could get when they came to John Jay and they came to CUNY. And to me, it's all about, I might tear up, it's all about making sure these young people have an opportunity and have the same opportunity that I had to fulfill their dreams.
The Ali Forney Center is the nation's largest and most comprehensive organization dedicated to housing and caring for lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender young people. These are young people who have been kicked out of their homes, denied love and acceptance by their families, and thrown out into the streets. Fundamentally, our work is rooted in helping young people overcome the trauma of family rejection and the traumas of street homelessness, and we apply that in every aspect of our work, including in our career and job readiness programs. I come to this work through my own personal journey. I grew up in and out of homelessness, in and out of the foster care system, and knowing firsthand what many of our young people experience. And it's a beautiful journey to be able to give back in the same way that was given to me when I needed it.
America Tech students are from the 5 boroughs of New York City. They are talented, amazing young people who are really interested in gaining technology skills. I grew up in the East New York section of Brooklyn, New York, specifically in Pink House Projects. By default of me being first generation Latina from a low income community, I should not be here today. I'm a first generation high school graduate, first generation college graduate, first person in my family to pursue a career in technology, and now a first generation entrepreneur. And for anyone who is listening today, I would say stay the course, make sure that you stay authentic in a world that wants to silence you, and make sure that you stand 10 toes on your values and the things that you believe in, because that is needed now more than ever. We are the people that we've been waiting for.
At CD&R, we're proud to stand alongside these remarkable partners, all of you, who are building a future of work that is inclusive, equitable, and full of opportunity for every New Yorker. The future is ours to build together.
Right. Sorry, get a little emotional seeing that. What you just saw is a powerful reminder that talent does not appear out of thin air. It grows in context, in families, in neighborhoods, and in cultures of resilience. And it grows despite the systems that were never designed with everyone in mind. Seeing those powerful reflections from our esteemed partners brings me back to Wilberforce, Ohio, where I first studied thinkers who challenged how I understood people and systems. I remember learning about Kimberly Crenshaw, who taught us about intersectionality. The idea that people move through the world shaped by multiple identities, each influencing how they are seen and how they experience opportunity. And then there's Bell Hooks, and I'll be honest, her work has shaped me the most deeply. She wrote about the power of love as an ethic, not as an emotion. There's a line she often referenced from the 1957 book by M. Scott Peck. You may have heard of it, The Road Less Traveled. In it, Peck defines love as the will to extend oneself for the purpose of nurturing one's own or another's spiritual growth. That definition stopped me in my tracks the first time I read it, and it still does, because it reframes love not as a sentiment or a soft concept, but as a form of intentional design. In a workforce context, I believe that kind of design looks like policies that remove barriers rather than reinforce them. Programs built around real lives, not idealized schedules. Employers opening doors and creating environments where talent can thrive. And funders committing for the long term, not just the grant cycle. Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft, she says that culture is built on empathy. And I believe that's true not only for companies, but for entire ecosystems. Because empathy is not the opposite of excellence. Empathy is the engine of excellence. And that's where our blueprint must come from. Not just from data or policy or market trends, but from values, from dignity, from humanity, from the belief that when we design systems around people, systems finally work. Every structure reflects the values of its architects. Every pipeline reflects the priorities of its builders. Every opportunity ecosystem reflects the imagination or the limitation of the people designing it. So as we think about the future of New York City, we cannot separate the technical from the human. Buildings stand because their foundations hold. Systems endure because their values do. And the values we choose now, today, will determine the blueprint that we hand to the next generation tomorrow. Before I close, I want to return to where we began this morning. When we said, "I see you," we weren't just acknowledging presence. We were acknowledging possibility. Because the systems we build and the future we build will always reflect who we choose to see. Every breakthrough our city has ever experienced, every reform, every innovation, every expansion of opportunity was not just a policy decision or a budget line. It began with a human choice. Someone believed a different future was possible. Someone dared to sketch a new outline. Someone picked up a pen and drew a new blueprint. And that brings us to this very moment. The future of New York City's workforce ecosystem will not be determined by algorithms or forecasts or automated models. It will be determined by people. People who choose to build systems worthy of the talent in this city. People like you. You are not just program leaders. You are not just policymakers. You are not just funders or advocates or educators. You are designers of access. You are builders of dignity. You are architects of human possibility. Every time you open a doorway, every time you coach an individual, every time you refine a program, challenge a policy, or push for alignment, you are reinforcing the beams of an ecosystem that can now hold more people, more dreams, and more futures. Because every one of us in this room is working from the same blueprint for opportunity. And so here's the invitation, the charge that I leave with you all today. Stay human in your decisions. Stay courageous in your leadership. Stay imaginative in your design. Do not simply repair what is broken, build what has never existed. Do not simply react to the moment, shape the landscape around it. Because the future of New York City is not written in data or trends. It is written in the hands that build, the hearts that uplift, and the minds of the leaders in this room. The future truly is ours to build, and I believe that we will build it together. Thank you.